Hi, boys and girls. Happy Tuesday. So for today in math, we are going to move on from parallel, perpendicular, horizontal, and vertical lines, and we are actually going to start putting those lines together to make shapes, okay? So that is how we are going to continue our study of geometry. We are moving on to the next chapter, and this is right out of your textbook. This is textbook page 126, 4B. So what we're going to start with, we're going to start very, very basic. We're going to start by looking at squares and rectangles, okay? We are going to be looking at how they are similar, but especially how they're different, okay? So this says identifying squares and rectangles. So this shape right here is saying that it's a square and a rectangle. Interesting, okay? This one, this green one right here is a rectangle. This yellow one is a rectangle. And this like reddish one right here is a square and a rectangle. So let's look at the characteristics of just a rectangle. What makes a shape a rectangle? Opposite sides are parallel and are of the same length, okay? So that means, let's look at this rectangle right here, opposite sides. So here's one side, here's the other side. They're parallel, right? They don't touch each other. Here's one side, and here's another side, also opposite. They don't touch each other, they're parallel, and they are of the same length. The parallel sides are of the same length, okay? This is the same length as this side. This is the same length as this side, okay? All angles measure 90 degrees, right? We can see that. We can see that each angle is that nice little corner, that nice little perfect 90-degree angle. A rectangle may or may not be a square, okay? So sometimes, depending on its characteristics, sometimes a rectangle is a square, sometimes it's not, okay? We're gonna get more into that this week. Now let's look at the characteristic of a square. This is very, very important when we are looking at squares. You have to remember that a square, every single side is the same length. Okay, now let's go back to a rectangle. Okay, yeah, the parallel sides are the same length, but is this side right here the same length as this side? No, it's not. Okay, so that's why this green shape is not a square, it is a rectangle. Okay, this blue shape right here, every single side is the same length. That makes it a square. Okay, so for a square, all sides are of the same length. Opposite sides are parallel, okay? So that means opposite sides. So here's one side. Its opposite is right here, and it's parallel. Here's one side. Let's look at its opposite. Its opposite is right here, parallel. They are of the same length. All angles measure to 90 degrees. We can see that nice little, perfect little 90-degree angle right there. A square is a special type of rectangle. Okay, so a square can be considered a rectangle, but a rectangle cannot be considered a square. Okay, why? Because in a rectangle, all the sides are not of the same length. In a square, they must be. Okay, now we're going to look at breaking up shapes made of squares and rectangles. So this is actually kind of fun. This is almost like a little puzzle, and you're going to be doing it today. The book gives you a funky looking shape, and you actually have to break it up into different square and rectangle shapes, okay? And I'm gonna show you how to do that right now. I am actually going to bring up your assignment for today, okay? So actually, let's go back to Schoology, okay? So I'm in Miss Corsa's homeroom. Oh, hold on, I have to stop and make another video. We'll be right back.